Some of the most important things to an HVAC business owner are communication with your staff and guys in the field, documentation and coverage of liability, and Company Cam is an app that helps you in both of those areas. It helps you communicate with your guys in the field via photography and messaging, and it consolidates all that into one spot, so there's no confusing phone calls and text messages showing up in a random location. You have one area, one spot to go to, and it covers your liability, so when your customers come back later and say, "This is what I thought you were doing," you can bring out the picture and say, "That's exactly what we did. Here's your before, here's your after." Company Cam is a must-have app for every business owner, especially our HVAC guys out there. And what's more, Company Cam is giving away a Yeti cooler to one of the Shop Talk listeners. You can find a link to the website in the description of this video, but it's companycam.com/Shop Talk. Alright, we're heading into Wilmington to get started on a new job. We're going to the inspections department. We're going to install a 2.5 ton Heil HX-H5 15 SEER heat pump. Change up some duct work a little bit. We're going to keep a little bit of it and change up some of it. Add some new duct work in for an addition. And first stop is the inspections department. Alright, we're at the New Hanover County Inspections Department, government buildings. Just went in, got my permit over there, ready to begin, so we're going to head back to the job and get started. This is the unit we're going to be changing out. Although we're not going to change it out today, I just want to show everybody that it's probably time to change it out. Looks like definitely have a little bit of an issue there. Alright, one of the first things to do is get our boots made. What I do, it's kind of sunny out there. Let's see here. We put a little bit of mastic on the corners of the boots to keep them sealed up. We'll make all our boots for upstairs. Downstairs, some of our other supplies. Put our boots on the floor, cut our holes, put our boots on the floor, put a little mastic around them so it seals up the cracks around the holes. And what I'm going to do now is bust a hole in between the two areas of the house separated by cinder block so we can run a little 9-inch trunk into this area and put some supply air in here. Alright, I got my trunk duct made for the lower addition area. And that elbow there, there's going to be another 3-foot piece coming off that elbow, going this direction, and that's going to pass through that masonry wall that I busted through. And this is what we're going to run alongside the old wall of the house. As you can see, there's the addition right there, and it's going to feed the lower addition 3 runouts, the 2 for the dining area and 1 for the little cupboard or restroom, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and insulate that and we'll put it in place. Alright, we got our trunk duct made here. This is the portion, the L portion is going to go right through that masonry wall underneath there, back to the old section of the house. A little bit of goop on top to keep the seam straight throughout the years, and we're ready to set it in place. Alright, we have a Y fitting here. Starts out 14, goes to 10-inch and 9-inch. The 9-inch section will serve the lower addition section here. The 10-inch section will serve the rest of the house, which is the southern section of the house. I have dampers on both of them because we're adding it onto an existing system that we're going to change out later this summer. So I want to be able to control the airflow because it's not a perfect setup. Until we redo the trunk, it won't be really how I'd like it. Okay, this is the top floor of the addition. We just installed the ductwork for here. We have a 9-inch trunk coming up above the trusses, weaving through there. Well, not weaving, going straight through there. And we have a few branch flex runs coming off. I'm going to 4x10 supply registers. 3 of them are 6s. The one in the closet over there in the corner is a 4. Trying to deliver about 200 CFM, between 200 and 250 CFM of air into this area to service, because it's only a master bath and laundry room and closet, jacuzzi and walk-in shower. Wanted to get enough air. That's why we went with a 9 instead of like an 8 branching, because we do have the laundry right there. It's going to be venting for hour-long periods, and it could be in the middle of the day, you never know. So next step will be putting the main trunk in the attic, which is back over this way, and installing the new 2.5 ton 15 SEER split Heil unit. But we have to have a little meeting first to discuss the line set location. I want to run a brand new line set and some venting and things like that. I have a Fantech fan here, which we'll film whenever that comes up. Alright, today we're starting on our main trunk section that's in the old part of the house. Since I was upgrading the equipment and we had an addition, I decided to upgrade the rest of the trunk. It was a flex and box system, so I'm going to go to an all hard pipe. We're going to reuse some of the flex runs, but this way it'll be sealed up real nice and more efficient. Alright, here's our new trunk duct in place in the attic. It is a little toasty up here, I gotta tell you. 16-inch will be going to the new unit. This is the old, train. You see it still froze up a little bit. I had to shut it down because what I assume is a blocked coil is causing it to freeze slowly. So that's our new piece of trunk duct. It'll keep extending down. That's one of the old flexing boxes right there, the existing system. I dropped the other flexing box down so we can go ahead and put this system into place and then attach it once we're ready to change out the train air handler and condenser. So we won't have any downtime as far as the system goes, even though it's not performing very well. Alright, this is the air handler we're changing out, and the reason why I'm up here at the air handler door is I'm about to check the indoor coil to see if it's frozen over, because it's freezing still. We've been freezing all day and it's been getting worse. So I'm going to see if our coil is just totally blocked up in ice and we had to let it thaw out. It's a good time to change the unit, so I'm glad we're doing that, but I want the unit to last another few days so we can finish the whole install. So we're going to take a look and see if we can get her going for a few more days so we can finish out. After we gave the blower wheel a spin, it took off, indicating that the capacitor was bad. This blower is old enough that it might have destroyed the capacitor. It looks like a new train replacement blower to me because of the terminal strip there where the taps plug into the motor. But it'll take off for now and give us some cooling, and I might just leave the fan on or replace that cap since they're so inexpensive. It's hard to see up here, but the entire main trunk is in. It goes all the way down from one end to the other there. And what I decided to do on Monday when I come back, I'm going to be a sneaky HVAC man and hook up this 14-inch right in front of you can't really see it, black flex, into that 16-inch hole with a 16 to 14 reducer I'll pick up, so I have AC up here while I'm tying stuff in. Because it gets hot and lonely up here when you're one guy doing all this crap. So that's what I'll do, make it a little bit more comfortable during the day, and as I tie them in, it'll return the AC to the floor below me. But it ought to be a little bit more comfortable when it's 95 outside. Alright, today we're working outside on the line set. I got my channel up to run the line set down. I got my two drains in there, secondary and primary, one for the pan, one for the coil. I'm also going to add two float switches too, so it'll be well protected against water. So basically I'm just working the ladder in between my two little cables there, which are not high voltage. So that's where we're at. I'm going to get everything in that channel, and then tomorrow morning Ari Michael's going to deliver our 15 SEER heat pump and air handler. Alright, now I'm feeding the line set up. It's a little bit more difficult, especially single-handedly. The 3/8 line's not too bad, liquid line's not too bad, it goes up pretty easy. I'm going to go up in the attic and make sure we got enough. What I did with the 3/4 line is I just stubbed in about 3 or 4 foot at a 45-degree angle up into the attic so it's easy to braze. The air handler's not too far away, it's probably like 15 or 20 feet, but it'll be too difficult for me to get it all the way over there. So I'm going to stop with that and go up in the attic and see if it's long enough. Then I can tape them down and put some new thermostat wire up there and everything. Alright, I got my speedy channel up there. That's the first piece I snapped on. You see the line set and everything else is in there now, so I just got to cover it up. Put a couple hanger straps midway up there just to kind of take some of the tension off of it. And had to cut the speedy channel off so it'd be about 18 inches above the ground there. You want to get it too close to the ground. Just paying attention that I'd cut off the end that's going to be going into a coupling so you don't have any rough edges sticking out. Alright, the cover's all done, everything's inside and ready to go. The 3/8 line will reach all the way to the air handler, and the thermostat wire will reach all the way to the air handler, but I'll have to put a little piece of 3/4 in there. Rip out Mr. Train here tomorrow morning and put in Mr. ICP. Alright, I'm pretty much all finished with the supply duct work. I still have to mastic a section over there in the addition, but I put some air seal on the tape joints so it won't come off. I had a problem with tape coming off because of the heat. So I went ahead and sealed them all up. This is our temporary connection to the unit there. And tomorrow our new unit will be in there, and I think it's the FX M4. It's an ECM motor, an X13 motor with a TXV air handler. So should be good to go then. Take this return off, put it on a new box, put a new access door for the coil so we can service it throughout the years. Get the line set off the platform. The line set's actually going to be on the other side. You can see the 3/8 line over there. Everything else is back behind there. Get everything sealed up, tightened up, and start her up tomorrow. Alright, here's our platform I built. It's 32 inches by 60 inches to hold the drain pan and the air handler. I want to boost it up a little bit. We're going to have foam blocks underneath the air handler that will give it about 4 more inches. We got about 4 inches here. That way we know our drain is going to be falling real well. And our secondary drain will have plenty of fall as well, even though it's not as critical. So it'll be all ready. Ari Michael should be here in about half an hour. And I'm about to go pump the old system down. Well, our giant 2.5 ton 15 SEER unit is here. Our air handler and a box up there. One of the little plastic pads and a drain pan. The connection on the end. I haven't seen that before. Funky. Alright, and we make that work. And a piece of PVC. We're going to start installing. Alright, things are moving along good here. The supply trunk there is tied in. We've got the ICP Heil up here. Heil, you can see it. Got the return box on, it's a little harder to see. Oh, my turbo torch. My box, got the line set run over to the side. Got a couple drains down there, still got to bring over here, but things are moving along well. I'll be setting the big boy out there shortly and then starting her up. Alright, we're putting pressure on the system now, slowly but surely. Got my plug-in gauges. I got my little eBay single gauge there. I got that for putting R134 in little appliances and stuff like that. That's how I flowed nitrogen, because I broke my Uniweld flow meter and I busted that, so I wasn't about to go buy another flow meter, so I already needed this thing, so I just take it real easy. It's not precise and it's not efficient with the nitrogen. But until I go buy another flow meter, that's what I'm going to do. So we've got our welds in there, we've got our pipe bent coming down out of the enclosure, and that's like that. Go right into the machine real nice and neat. So we'll put some pressure on this and test it. I'll wire up the unit in the attic, and then we'll come down here and finish this one up and get it started. Alright, pulling a vacuum down here. We're down there 1175 and running for a couple minutes. I'm going to leave it hooked up. I got to go pick up some large wire nuts. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll be wrapping her up here shortly. I'll tell you one thing, they are quiet. It's running right now. Still got to add a little bit of charge to it. Heil. 2-speed fan motor. Let's see if we got a superheater 8.6, which is pretty good, but the subcooling is a little low. Add a little bit of charge to bring that up. And we'll be good to go. Nice and quiet.
Okay, it's Monday morning. I'm heading out to install a Mitsubishi mini split, 18,000 BTUs, 20 SEER inverter on this big sunroom. So that's what we're doing today. Not starting as early as I did before, but still starting early enough. It's a little cooler out here now. It's been, I guess, in the low 90s instead of the hundreds here lately, so it's not as bad to work in. So we're going to get down to business and stay tuned. There's our indoor unit sitting right up there. Line set goes out here, so we lined it up so it'll go right down the outside wall. There's some of my tools. Pretty simple. So all the wiring is located right behind here. Open it up, see the filters. There's the filters right there. Basically you just pull them up and they pull out, and you wash them and put them back. That's about it. Alright, we're finishing up. We got our enclosure in. Mr. Slim here, our vacuum running down to 83 microns. Wiring everything up. We'll be good to go. Okay, we are all done over here. I set on 75. Our indoor is doing a very good job of lowering the temperature. Nice and quiet. Nice big old sunroom here.
18,000 BTU split heat pump inverter. Now I'll go show you the outdoor unit, finished product. Here's our outdoor unit all set. Drain coming down the side there. Our enclosure all wiped off. For some reason when you buy these things they get covered in dirt before you buy them, and when they get you, you have to end up wiping them down pretty good. And we wiped that one off. This is the Mitsubishi. Running very well, very quiet. Split system heat pump. Inverter, 20 SEER. So we are good to go. All wired up. Performing well. And there's our drain giving up the water down there. And we're all done here. Okay, let's compare. This will be fun. Here's the Mitsubishi Electric Mr. Slim here, and it's running at a low RPM. You can hardly hear it. Let's see if we can hear the compressor. I don't know if you guys can hear it. It sounds like a drink machine or something like that you're standing in front of. So it's quiet. That's the gist of it. All right, now let's compare. Oh dear. Here's our good one. Who is quieter? It is hard to tell. There's a nice drain right there. That's right. As you see the water being sucked back into it because there's no trap. Good stuff. PHJ 036 or PHKJ 036 from 2002 January. Sorry. I just thought it'd be fun. Good morning, guys. I am heading down South Kerr Avenue in Wilmington, heading toward Monkey Junction, which is a little area south of Wilmington. I'm gonna install a pane system today, 2.5 tons, heat pump. Got to run a new line set, or at least a new suction line. It's a budget job. They had a budget and I came up with something we could do. It was, so we're gonna look for a little bit of savings in this one. So come along for the trip. Hey guys, I'm taking this old Lennox out here. Kept frosting up and the homeowner said it was just time to take it out. Looks like some bad placement on the defrost sensor. Kind of catching it on the tail end there. Maybe not defrosting as often as it should. That's hard to tell. It's been doctored a little bit here, but she's going bye-bye. To be replaced by a pane matched with a Carrier indoor unit because they're basically all made by Carrier. I am waiting for my brother to turn off the indoor air handler. There's 26 volts out here. I don't want to blow the transformer and scare the crap out of him. So I'm going to give him a call, have him shut that off so I can disconnect everything, get this out of the way. Guys, I'm getting our Carrier air handler ready. Not much to happen. We got to put a new heater in it and take it upstairs. Other than that, it'll be squared away. That's left-hand discharge. It'll be in left-hand upstairs. So that's about all we have to do. I want to go ahead and get this ready while my brother finishes getting the stand built up in the attic so we can move it right up there when we get done. Alright guys, we have our pane all in place, the old Lennox sitting side by side. We are about to open it up, attach the wiring. The line set's going to be replaced, or at least the suction line is. I have to go straight up right there, so I'm going to fasten a few things in place and I'll plot out where those refrigerant lines are going. Guys, if we look at the pane, we can see same old defrost borders and a lot of Carrier Bryant ICP products. We have our dual run capacitor, same old Homer contactor. We do have a Gentech fan motor, but one of the differences you will see if you're up close to them is that the metal is just a little bit thinner. Everything's just a little bit flimsier. Just in general, the grills are a little bit cheaper, a little bit easier. You can tell just from moving them that they're a little easier. The outside grill's firm, so it's not an issue. Like say one of the Goodmans, how they push in and hit the condenser. I don't think that's going to happen, but just a little bit cheaper. A good alternative in my mind. You just got to be careful about just it is a little bit less as far as build quality. Alright guys, I came straight up. You see right there, I have a little piece of wire sticking up. I have a little pilot hole. I'm gonna go up in the attic. It looked like it was free and clear in that particular area. We're gonna double check and see if it really is.
It's the break of dawn here in Burgaw. We're about to head off to work. Starting a new job today. We're going to replace an old water-cooled furnace with a new air-to-air Heil package unit, and have a couple meetings first thing in the morning here at the break of dawn. Another one at the end of the day, so we're really rocking and rolling. So we're going to get started.
This is day 2 of our Heil 2-ton package unit. I didn't get a lot of filming yesterday because the owner's grandson was helping me under here. I guess to better himself. The grandfather was making the grandson help me out. It was okay. You see some flex on the ground over there. That's just flex I run from the boot, so I'm laying where the trunk's going to go. The big flex right in front of us is going to be the return. It's going to come out right where my face is at right now, out to the package unit. Right where my fan's at, it'll be a metal trunk going back and turning to the right in between these 2 piers here. And running down about 15 foot to catch all the runs. And then over there, beyond the return, you'll see a little bit of flex. That's a 10-inch zone going back toward the old part of the house where the duct is concealed in the chase. So we're using that obviously since we can't get to the chase. That's about it. Just getting flex in place. Tomorrow, Ari Michael's going to deliver our Heil unit. PhD 3, I think. Heat pump, 13 SEER, X13 motor, and blah, 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 blah. So it'll be here tomorrow morning, and we'll set that and hopefully get them some cooling.
Okay, we're at the break of dawn again. Trying to get an early start because it's so hot today. The heat advisories are going to be in effect. It's probably going to feel like 110, 115 degrees here. So I'm going to get an early start. Ari Michael's going to be delivering at 8 o'clock. And maybe I can get that last piece of trunk duct work made. And get it out of the house. And finish this thing up today.
Alright, there's our Heil sitting there. Next to our comfort maker. It's our clearance for the evaporator, compressor, controls, and blower. And our duct fittings, we're going to go into that duct there. Head out of the house, the return's open so the electrician can get down there. Then we'll put our hood on and be good to go. Alright, we're all done setting the old Heil there. Good deal. Sitting it on the pad there, looks good, nice and quiet. Drain is giving up the water. Ever since we started, just gallons. One thing left I have to do here is to caulk on the hood there so no water gets in around it. Just enough room for the hose bit. So we are good to go, and I will see you on the next one. Okay, I'm checking out the duct system here downtown Wilmington, and look at this. That's a reducer shooting into an old boot with no connection. Just dripping water off of it.
Good morning. It's 7:50 and we're heading out to Rocky Point today. We're going to install another HX-H5. This one's a 4-ton. A very cool place. Going to a guy's house that has a fort built out front that has a bar built into it. Believe it or not, he has a cannon that shoots tennis balls, and they shoot them at abandoned houses across the street. And the place where we're going to install this 4-ton, actually it's 3.5 ton. The old one was 4, the new one's going to be 3.5. Is a house/race car shop. So it's pretty interesting. So stay tuned. All right, I'm heading over to my job. They got over there and took the air handler out, took all the old stuff out, and Ari Michael bungled up the order and didn't order my units, so I had to send them up to Garner, North Carolina, which is like 2.5 hours away from here. Actually, it's about 2 hours away from here, to get the right stuff. So now it's 2 o'clock, and I'm leading. That's Ari Michael behind me there. I'm leading them to the job site because we're so far out in the country. They never make it down here alive by themselves. So we're gonna get started, probably set the condenser today and come in tomorrow morning and do the rest. All right, there's our old ductwork right there we're reusing. This hangs inside of a big old auto shop. Guys got a lot of cool toys. Little electric carts, motorcycles, very cool stuff. And what we're doing is I'm running the line set up
And over to the unit location. I've already set the condenser outside. We'll take a look at that in a second. Alright, we got another 15 SEER heat pump sitting out here. Got the lines run through the wall. The suction lines run all the way back to the air handler, but it's not tied in yet. Liquid line's tied in here. Got the low voltage done, but I'm gonna have to go get a new whip because this whip isn't long enough. Probably stop at Lowe's and get a whip, and then finish it up tomorrow and get some footage of her running. They're real quiet, really nice units. Alright, putting a little nitrogen on the system. 3.5 ton, 15 SEER Heil HXH5. Got our run capacitor, contactor, little alert system, troubleshooting. 2-speed fan motor relay. I think 82 or 83 degrees outside, it steps up to high speed. And when it's cooler outside, it's on low speed. There's our defrost controller. I got everything set up for the vacuum. I'll just go ahead and set it up, take the cores out so I can pressurize it with nitrogen so it's a nice easy switch over into vacuum. And we'll see how this vacuum pulls down today as opposed to some of the ones we've been talking about. John and Fritz have been talking to me, and we're going to have a conversation about vacuuming the existing systems. This isn't existing, but I got some theories on what we can do to speed it up a little bit. So we'll see. We'll come back and check on the vacuum in about 5 minutes to see where it's at. We just started a couple seconds ago. Alright, a few minutes later we're at 1130 microns, which is not optimal. So have to think our way around this. Why are we not going down as quickly as I would like to? Okay, what I had to do with the vacuum was put it through a triple evacuation again. Pump it full of nitrogen, bring it back up to atmospheric pressure, evacuate. Got it down to 1,000 microns. Then I did it again, got it down to 750, actually 620. And the third time we got it down to 500. It was a lot of work. And it seems like that's unnecessary work. And this line set is new. So I have concerns. And I guess I'm going to have to do like Fritz does and do a little bit of experimentation, probably back at the shop at my house. See if I can figure out what's going on, because the first time I did this, it was plowing through it. But I know my vacuum pump oil wasn't changed in between this time and last time, which is a factor, but I'm still a little surprised by it. Another shot of some of the controls here. What you do on the Heil is you unplug there's a yellow and brown fan wire going to the 24 volts AC terminal up top. That means the fan will run in high speed constantly. That's what we want when we're charging, so we get a proper subcooling, because if the fan slows down, subcooling goes down too, give you a false reading. Right now we're at, let's see, 8 degrees, 8.7 degrees subcooling. We're looking for a target of 12. Superheat looks good, it's staying pretty low, so I'm happy there. And we'll be good to go here shortly. Really quiet. Another one, this is a 3.5 ton. The one we did yesterday was 2.5 tons. So this is a big boy. Very nice. Okay, we're back here at our Heil unit we set a couple months ago at the trailer here, and the power is now on, so we can start it up. So the first thing I want to check is, well, first of all, got dirt all over everything, so it's kind of nasty. Pisses me off a little bit. That's okay. The pressure's still on it. I let a little bit of it off. I think we were at 225-ish, and I let some off, so we're at 220, 218 now. So I know our pressure held this whole time, which is good. It'll give us a nice good vacuum, hopefully. So I'm going to take this off, let the nitrogen off, we'll hook up the vacuum pump and get it going. I got all our stuff set up. I got the 1/2-inch hoses hooked up to either side, valve core removers. Got a little bit different vacuum gauge on there this time. The S-mans weren't cutting it, so they got fired. And we got it shut off. We're about to turn it on and get to it. And we got those open. Let's see what happens. I tell you what, it's been about a minute. I think I figured out the problem. Alright, we had our hoses and I had everything set up before and nothing was happening. Nothing was pulling down. But what I thought about is the S-man being a vacuum gauge. First, I have two things wrong with that. The hoses going to the S-man aren't vacuum rated. And secondly, that sensor is always exposed to junk all the time. It would need to be cleaned profusely every time I used it, and I think it was muddy in the waters as far as the reading. Because now we have 220, or it's going up and down, 220 microns, and it's only been on for 2.5 minutes. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to religiously clean this one. But I think the S-Man just is not built to take the beating of pulling those deep vacuums and being in regular use gauges as well. So hopefully we got it figured out, and we're already into the deep vacuum. So we'll let it run for a little while I check things out, then we'll start her up. All right, we've drop tested it for about 10 minutes and at 375. We are good to go. You can drop test it for longer than that. The American standard units and Fritz and John will probably know this one. I think they asked to bring it down to 350 and hold it for a minute. So we'll definitely have surpassed that mark, and we're holding steady at 375, so we're about to release the valves, take this stuff off, and hook up the gauges. Alright, the next step after our vacuum is I take the shredders and put them back in, and releasing charge here. Nice and easy. We have a TXV in there. We don't want to put it through too much here with a lot of refrigerant coming in there all at once. Liquid side first, or high side first, then low side. And it's slowly going in there. There we are. And of course I clean my hoses before I switch from R22 to R410A. Alright, we've been running for just a few minutes. See our subcooling's still a little low, it's 3.5, it's been bouncing around. We'll let it go for about 10 more minutes. The superheat right down there where we want it is a TXV on the indoor coil. It's actually the first trailer I've done with a TXV on the coil. I know that some of them do have TXVs, but not for me yet. So this is the first one of those. Another interesting fact, we have our breaker up there. When I opened the panel door, because it kept tripping off, the breaker fell out the front of the door. It's kind of a funny thing. That hasn't happened yet. I'd clean up some of that stuff that was down there. Just annoys the crap out of me. Well, our target superheat was 13, and we've been up to 13.5 down to 11.2. It's going kind of back and forth. So we're doing pretty good. You see the TXV's adjusting, changing the superheat. So superheat's bound to be around 5 to 8 degrees. So I'm pretty happy with that right there. It's on the lower end of the spectrum, but as long as it doesn't drop down too much farther, I'll be happy. So we're pretty squared away. I'll let it run for a little bit longer, but we're probably not going to alter anything. She looks pretty good, and she's getting 20 degrees inside, which is pretty good. A couple guys had asked me about where you put your clamps for the S-Man for measuring superheat and subcooling. So where I put mine is for subcooling, you're measuring the subcooled liquid heading out of the condenser right here. So once it leaves the condenser, the 3/8 line typically with residential, you put it anywhere on this line going back toward the evaporator. Usually at the condenser, that's where your gauges are at, obviously. So I put mine here, but you can put it anywhere on this line that you can find a good connection. Electrical was in the way here, so that's why I went on this side. For superheat, you're getting a measure of superheated gas heading back to the compressor. So right here at the service valve is just fine. Usually you can slide the insulation back and put your clamp right there. That's how I get my measurement. So we're looking at 11.1 and 3 right now. So she's cooling very well. I'm gonna let her go for a little while, then I'm going to call it a day. Okay, we're all done here, and I got the furnace open, and let me tell you, or show you, what is very frustrating. Let's go turn on the blower. Now, I mean, you know, we've checked the whole thing, and it's good to go, right? Sounds good so far. Good sounding blower, nice and healthy. Probably last for 1,000 years. Come on. Uh-oh. What's that? Hear that? Doesn't sound good down there. Oh, that doesn't sound good either. sound good at all. What? I don't remember pushing the slow down button. It's funny. Started off on a high, now it's on medium low. I got a strong feeling that in a couple minutes it's going to be on stop. And oh, that is the sound of a very bad blower. So we are going to have to change that out because the furnace is existing, but the end coil and the unit are new. She's dead. Dead's the door now. I get to move my lines out of the way, which I so cleverly put in the way. Nope. And nothing. The perfect end to a perfect day. Guys, we're at the old GE unit. I am dismantling it because I'm finally changing it out. It'll be a 7.5 ton split carrier system here when it's all said and done. I'm taking her apart piece by piece and piling her up over here for the scrappers. Fun. I've raised in a line tap down there, as you can see, so that I can remove refrigerant. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to move on to disassembling every single piece of this and cutting it up. Here's our old pad where our condenser used to sit. It's gone now. Got to cut off those copper lines going inside because we're not going to use those again. Make a penetration up in this area here. Go through into the mechanical room. The old air handler is gone. There's our return ductwork going to the floor. There's our supply ductwork. There's our old duct heater feeds right there. They'll be eliminated. There'll be a 25 kW heater on top of this unit. Nice and clean in here now. Guys, we have our carrier system in place. Have a 25 kW heater on top, 7.5 ton air handler. Take off the front door, place it on the bottom so we can have return air from this side. We have a duct here. We're going to have to build some kind of blowout or box to bring air in off of that duct. And then we're going to have a outside air duct up here. A line set hole is down here because we have 1 1/8 and 1/2 inch line set instead of 1 3/8 and 1/2 inch. So things are going good. I'm putting together the metal fitting from the top, and I'll catch up with you guys once I've done. Guys, I finished my supply fitting. Brother started on the copper out there getting outside of the air handler. I wanted to make the box in the morning, but we're done for today. Off to do service calls. So, supply fitting done. Just need to seal it up and wrap it. We'll be well on our way tomorrow to hopefully having all the ductwork done, having all the pipe work done, and pulling a vacuum on the system so we can start it up on Friday. We have our Carrier Gemini outdoor unit set, heat pump, 7.5 tons. We pipe things up. We have a pressure test put on it. This pressure test holds. We'll probably leave it on there till tomorrow when the electrician comes to finish the job. Everything's coming along pretty good. Our trash was taken away by the church elders, which was nice too. Means we didn't have to do that. I am busy constructing a box for the return piece by piece. I'm almost done. I gotta put the top on it and then we can get to the outside air, insulate the box, all that good stuff. We've converted the motor from 460 down to 233 phase, and we need to do some low voltage, and then we will be getting close to being finished. Guys, I finished building my box and wrapping it. I have my outside air duct run across over here, so I had to seal it up. Comes out to our cap here with the screen built into it. Low voltage is coming along. This is a power open, spring closed, fresh air damper. Some of our low voltage is finished. We changed our motor over to 233 phase because they come shipped for 460. So our filter's down there. Line set. Ooh la la. We have a Honeywell Vision Pro on the inside. It's like my favorite stat. It's the standard definition one. It's not the high definition one because you really don't need that because the standard one's pretty cool all on its own. Our supply fitting going up there to the old ductwork. Things are going really well. Guys, we have our unit running here. been running for probably about a half an hour or so. We're still charging it up. See, we have a good superheat. We have very little subcooling. Going by the equipment charging chart I have here, which just ensures we have some subcooling. We are still lacking charge a little bit. We're going to keep on charging it up. Definitely humid inside, so our target temperature split was lower. It's starting to climb back up a little bit. If you can see it down there at the bottom, 16.2. Our original target was 14, but we've humidified the air quite a bit. SEER split system. And it's going to take a little bit more than a day probably because I'm going to be redoing some items in the attic. It's about 45 miles from the house, so it's a good ways away. But it should be a good job. Right on the water, it's a nice view and everything like that. It's kind of a sleepy town, especially this time of year. So I'll try to get some video of various pieces of it. This is the unit that's coming out. We have a carrier. As you can see that Tech 2000 silencer system. Very nice. Compressor blanket, mufflers, all the good stuff. And there's another one back there. In fact, if you look back on my videos in 2011, I did a video called Installing a Zone System. That's it. So we're getting hooked up and ready to pump this one down. I'm about to go up in the attic and disconnect the air handler while this one's pumping down. Well, good thing I have some air handler work to do because this is not what I wanted to see today. Hopefully, there's supposed to be some coastal showers and they're going to pass by, head off the coast, and hopefully we'll be done with them. But this will not be good if this holds up all day. Here was our old carrier air handler. Flex coming around the back of it. We're going to put a new box on the back of this new air handler so it mixes air a little bit better before it hits the coil. That's our line set. Supply duct works underneath this shelf here. We're going to kind of pick it up so I can get a fitting on there to blow it up to the supply size of the new air handler. And we'll get this old boy out of here. Put our new variable speed one in. Our new Goodman air handler is sitting in place. We went ahead and fabricated a return box with a collar in it. We had a little bit hanging the return flex over there. It's kind of bent off. Gonna hang it up so it rolls a little bit more gently. There's our supply duct. We hang this one up a little bit here. You don't want the flex coming off and yanking right back this way. Put a nice smooth bend in it. We have a metal fitting we've insulated on the supply side, adapting it to the old duct. So everything's moving along pretty good. It's only 11 o'clock with all the rain and stuff, so we're doing alright. Here's our Ecobee Smart SI thermostat. We'll be setting this up after we get the system online, but can't wait. It should be a pretty cool thermostat to use. Alright, I got the Amanda set in place here. Amanda. Trying to stay out of the rain. Got the testo test on here. So we'll let it get about 10 minutes, see how we do. I'm wiring the unit up low and high voltage, and we're about to start her up here shortly after the vacuum. Alright, we're pulling the vacuum on the old Amanda down here. Got it down pretty low. About to blank it off and check it out. Definitely want to blank it off and let it sit here for a second, because with any pro flush in the line, you want to make sure you've actually pulled it down to a good vacuum. Got the testers ready to roll. So hopefully here in a few minutes, got a new electrical there. Or newer. This is our Ecobee stat. It's on now. So you can see it's actually a pretty cool stat. All sorts of ways you can configure it. It'll give you email alerts, give you the weather forecast once I actually set it up. Not yet. System controls. See if you can see that. It's hard to see. Auxiliary heat, auto cool heat. It's hard to see it. And then you can schedule your fan to come on periodically, which is what it's doing now. If you can hear it, the fan is running, or it was. It's scheduled to run 20 minutes per hour, just to circulate the air. So there's a lot of cool things. It'll email you when the system's not keeping up with the set point. It'll let you know when the heat strips have run more than they're supposed to. You can make programs online for it. It's very cool. I just haven't finished registering. I'm going to go home and register it on my laptop at home. But it's a very cool thermostat. I look forward to putting in more of these. You can keep tabs on your properties from anywhere in the world with internet access. So it's really cool. So we're just about to turn the machine on for good. We've been testing the heat strips. And just letting it run, the fan run, and make sure the heat strips will come on when they're supposed to. And everything's worked out so far. I was going to change the filter, but the filter's actually pretty clean already. So I just kept the filter as a spare. Alright, we are pulling our vacuum. We're almost done with the vacuum. It's pulled down to 230 microns. We blanked it off. It keeps coming down and coming down. I want to make sure this is a nice dry system because, you know, with the retrofits, you never know what went on in the last system. It was blown out with Pro Flush. I want to make sure all the Pro Flush is evaporated out of the line set. So we're all about ready to hook up the testos and weigh in about 20 ounces of charge. We're about 50 degrees outside today. So we're going to weigh in for the line set, which is around 50 foot long. Take away 15 foot for system charge. The machine itself comes charged with 15 foot's worth of refrigerant. You take the remaining 35 foot and you go 0.67 ounces per foot. Roughly that's 2 ounces for every 3 feet. So we have 35 feet. Let's say that's 36 feet. You're looking at 24 ounces, so I'll probably end up putting 20 in just to make sure because the system charge isn't always what it says. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, I've noticed over the years. You think it'd be the same, but it's not always the case. Now I'm weighing in the charge. I'm going for about 20 ounces, taking it nice and slow because I don't want to, you don't want to slam the TXV with a whole bunch of liquid when you're weighing in the charge. Got about 7 ounces in there so far. Just going to slowly put it in there. Then I'll release the charge in the unit. And then we will start her up. Alright, we'll have our heat set on 70. So we're going to go downstairs and check out our condenser and we'll go ahead and charge it in heat mode. I know you guys might not be able to see this, but on the back of the door here, there's a heat charging chart. And what you do is you look up your values for the temperature inside, which is close to 65. Our indoor airflow rate, which is 530. That's the rate we chose on the variable speed air handler. And outside we're close to 52. So according to that, we should be 345 and 121. Of course, we can be within 20 degrees of, or 20 psi of the liquid side and 5 psi of the suction side. So if we look at that, we're warming up inside a little bit. Alright, coming into the city for another day of mini split installations / service calls here in Wilmington, North Carolina. So stay tuned for some HVAC fun. Alright, today we're installing a Sanyo mini split air conditioner. Actually a heat pump in. There's our back plate. There's our spot on the wall we're going to use to penetrate the wall. And the first time I've used a Sanyo. So it's a DC inverter, 20 SEER, 10H I believe. 18,000 BTUs. Can't really see it down there much. But we're putting that in over here to cool this garage they filled in. And we'll be setting it. It's going to come out right up there and run down, put a little enclosure, run it over. It's actually going to sit in on some blocks because the bracket did not come in for some reason. So we're going to be putting it on blocks for a few days until the bracket comes in and we can hang it with the bracket. Now I've got the backing on the wall. I drilled the hole out there as like before. I'm going to go ahead and fit the evaporator up there and stick the line set and the wire and everything out through that hole. So the rest of the work will be outside except for tying in the wire. Alright, I'm running all the line sets and drain and the interconnect wire down. Got it inside some of that slim duct speedy channel. It's not quite finished yet. I just got it on there to hold it in place while I'm finishing up. Put some cinder blocks down to put the unit on top of until we can get we had a wall hanging rack that was supposed to be here and it's not here yet, so we're just going to jack it up till it comes in. Alright, we're putting on some flares in the rain here. What I do is I put some thread sealant on these. This is nylog thread sealant, and what it holds high pressure. If they're starting to leak or something like that, it's able to counteract that leak. And it does a really good job of sealing flares. I know I've had a small leak on the flares at about 350 pounds. It would leak a pound ever so often, and this stops it dead in its tracks. It's just awesome. And there's blue ones for HFC and red ones for CFC and ACFC refrigerants. It's really good. So next step will be tightening these up and then putting pressure on the lines. Alright, I'm pulling a vacuum now. I have the 5/16 core remover on the mini split so I can remove the core so the vacuum moves faster. I have the adapter down to 1/4 inch and I have a 1/4 inch head on my 1/2 inch hose, which goes back to one of 2 hoses that go to my vacuum manifold from Yellow Jacket. I have the vacuum gauge hooked up to one. As you see, we're pulling down nicely. It's only been running for about 3 minutes, but this sucker does a real good job. Just a generic pump. I still have the same pump I had when I started my business. One day I'll get a better one, but it still does the job real good, so what can you say? On a regular air conditioner split system, I can hook both hoses up. It really draws it down real fast. So we're going to let it run for a while, see how far down we get, while I go inside and finish up some ends of the wiring on the indoor air handler, which is 4-wire. 3 conductors and a ground that goes between the outside unit and the inside unit. See how energy efficient we are here. So I'll check back when I got that done. Alright, we pulled the vacuum. It's pumped running down to 65 microns, which is pretty daggone low. The pump really does a great job. My old setup with just the gauges over there running the vacuum would have never made it down this far. It might have, but it would have been like a year or 2 from now. But this happened in half an hour. So it's kind of bottomed out as far as it's going to be able to go. So we're about done here. Next we'll be disassembling this and putting the line set, or the gauges on it. We're ready to crack open the service valve as soon as the electrician gets a disconnect on the wall and some wiring down here. We'll be set to go.
The NP4 DLM cordless vacuum pump from NAVAC features a high-performance lithium battery capable of up to 1 hour of continuous running time. Weighing a scant 15.4 pounds, this unit is exceedingly efficient and, for technicians, easy to carry and store. The NP4 DLM's twin-cylinder operation provides high vacuum down to 15 microns. To save 8% off this product when you purchase, go to TreeTechTools.com and use our Shop Talk discount code.